I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. Guys, on the recent announcement that F1 2020 is officially pre-ordered and on its way to Turbo Fox races, I am very excited to head into these next coming races, guys, because we are all building up to the brand new game of F1 2020. Guys, please drop a like down below on the video. It's only going to take you 2 seconds. Guys, heading towards the performance shot Racing Point are still the car to beat, with Haas at P2, Red Bull P3, Williams are now P4, Mercedes P5, we in McLaren are P6, Ferrari P7, Renault P8, Alfa Romeo P9, and Toro Rosso are still way far down in P10. But guys, heading to this weekend, it's the Spanish Grand Prix. We're heading towards the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. A very, very fun track, very hard track if you don't go well around here. It's a track that can really bite you in the rear. So let's head towards Spain and let's see what we can get going for ourselves this weekend here at Catalunya. Yeah.
You join us today at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya for what's bound to be a really hectic qualifying as the teams compete to set the best lap times. And as we wait, poised for the start of what will hopefully be a thrilling qualifying, why don't you tell us, Anthony Davidson, about the things you can do to really get the most out of a car in a session like this?
Well, you're largely limited by the Parc Fermé regulations, of course. Back in the old days, pre-2004, you'd work on both a qualifying setup and a race setup over practice, and then swap them over after qualifying. So the race car was quite different at times to the qualifying car. Nowadays, though, you have to find a compromise that works for both. There are a few things that you can still adjust during the session, such as the differential, the brake bias, and the front wing angle, but that's about it. So it's more about optimizing what you do have and adapting your own style to suit the track conditions.
Guys, jumping straight into qualifying. So you guys see we are at the end of our first lap in Q1, rounding the very final chicane here at Catalunya. Very tight chicane through the final corner, flat out corner towards the line, and it's only good enough for P18.
Understood, stopping this lap.
Thank you, Jeff. And guys, it's a 1:16.7, which I actually thought was a pretty nifty lap. That's the best lap we had the whole weekend.
When you're ready, let's go.
And it was really, when I crossed the line, I was like, oh, this is going to be a good one. We'll at least be like 11th, 12th. And I looked up to the left, to the top left hand of the screen. I'm like, P18? How is that even possible? So guys, heading towards this final run in Q1, we are hoping and praying that we can get into Q2. Heading towards the first quarter here in Catalunya, you guys can see it's a very light braking zone. It is a bagged quarter, so you can carry some more speed through there than you initially think. Through T2, now through the flat out T3. You guys said I lifted a little bit there due to a really bad line through T3. Into T4, it's once again another hairpin down to 4th gear. Get the car to turn in. Easy on the throttle as you come out of the hairpin. 6th gear, 7th gear. Now all the way back down to 2nd gear for another downhill hairpin. Well, another hairpin, but this one downhill. Now opening up the throttle as quickly as possible. You can actually plant the power really quickly coming out of that corner. But don't underestimate to do it too quickly, because you will go spinning. Through one of probably the most fun corner of the track, the uphill right-hander. It's almost flat out in the modern F1 cars. Now heading towards this next corner, and once again another hairpin, left-handed hairpin. The slowest corner, no, not the slowest corner on the track, one of the slowest corners on the track. Going once again over a little crest, up into this final sector. We've only got 4 quarters to go now. A right-hander, a chicane, and another right-hander. Very tight 3 corners now. Into the very last final chicane. It's very, very tight through there, and now through the final corner, flat out. Open up the throttle, open up the car, and we're gonna come across the line, and then hopefully it's Q2. Oh boy, it's not Q2. I don't think it's gonna be that miraculous P15. How is Butler and Raikkonen P4 and P5? How? This, no. This does not make sense. Giovinazzi and myself are out. As well as George Russell and the Williams, actually. Oy.
Tough luck there. It's not quite where we'd want to be on the grid, but chin up, it's not the end of the world.
You might think so, but starting P18 is not going to be the easiest thing in the world. But guys, like Jeff said, or was that Carl? I can't remember. We have to keep our chin up, otherwise this Spanish Grand Prix is going to get the best of us. So let's head towards Spain and let's see what we can do from P18 on the grid.
afternoon from a very familiar setting. It's race day here in Spain, and with everything still to play for in the championship battle, there's no room for mistakes in a Grand Prix that's well known for creating them. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Let's talk about O'Connor. No grid penalties, no mitigating circumstances, just a poor qualifying performance and a very disappointing start position for them today.
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Great work from Lucas Weber yesterday sees him start from pole, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Sainz, Gasly, Max Verstappen and Leclerc, Hamilton, Bottas, Butler and Sebastian Vettel, Grosjean, Norris, Kevin Magnussen and Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Giovinazzi, George Russell and O'Connor, Albon and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
See if you can gain some early places on the first lap. This will help us to get another points finish.
Yes, Jeff, we are wanting to go for points. We want to get this car into the top 10, guys. If we can, let's say P7, round about there. But guys, easy one-stop strategy here for us today. Lots of fuel so we can push hard. And all that's left to do is to subscribe and jam with me on the formation lap. Don't forget to ding that bell. Yeah. Ready for the Spanish Grand Prix, round 5 of season 3, as we head to 5 red lights and a racing point front row, and it's go, go, go for the Spanish Grand Prix, as the 2 racing points get a very good launch of the line, but as well as the Carlos Sainz in his black and gold rich energy Haas racing car. The Red Bull of Pierre Gasly slots in right behind. Ooh, as there's contact with one of the Ferraris from behind on the Red Bull of Pierre Gasly, but it's Lucas Weber leading the way from his teammate Sergio Perez in P2. Carlos Sainz is third for Haas. P4 is Pierre Gasly for Red Bull. P5 is Max Verstappen for Ferrari, but now that Ferrari is wounded, heading through this next corner, you guys can see it's actually 3 wide between the 2 Ferraris and Valtteri Bottas. Oh, there goes Leclerc! There goes Leclerc on the outside of the track. What happened there? I think there was no space. Verstappen has got front wing damage and he just couldn't get the car turned in, and he didn't realize that Charles was hanging around the outside. As also my teammate Devin Butler is going side by side with the second Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. So you guys see, we jump back onto the POV of Max Verstappen, and yes, that car is wounded as he runs wide through the uphill right-handed corner. And Max, this has been the absolutely worst start for Ferrari. A Spanish freaking tragedy. What happened? Okay, Max, for the second season in a row, has bottled his chances to have a good result here. at Spain, and actually exactly the same corner with almost exactly the same incident. He has broken the right front part of his front wing. And as you guys see here, we jump on board with his teammate Charles Leclerc, and Max can just not get his car turned in, and it forces Charles to go into the gravel trap. Luckily, he keeps the car running, so he will not get stuck in the gravel. But now we rush back to Max Verstappen's POV. And as you guys see, heading to this next corner, you can already see the car is wounded. He's struggling to get the car turned in. He has to go down all the way to 3rd gear. Most of us take that corner in 4th gear, and going through this right-hander up the hill, there's just no front downforce on the car. And this has been an absolutely horrible start for Ferrari and for their chances here in Spain. Ferrari are going to take a massive blow for both their drivers in the Drivers' Championship as well as in the Constructors, especially the Constructors. But guys, let's see what Ferrari can do for the rest of this race. Hopefully, Leclerc and Verstappen can battle back, but it's going to be hard for Maxi. To jump back to my POV for my start, guys, you guys see I go for an F1 2018 type of dive bomb heading into the first corner. I knew I had to get something going for myself this first lap, guys. I couldn't sit back and just wait for these guys to hopefully give me a little bit of a window. I needed to create a window as I got into of Kimi, but Kimi just squeezes me very rudely onto the inside grass there. But now heading towards this next corner, that just made me a little bit mad. And heading into towards there, but you guys can see I just forced Kimi onto the outside because just to get a little bit of back at him. It seems like Kimi has got some sort of vendetta against me this season. It's not the first time me and Kimi have had a little bit of a kerfuffle this season. If you think back to Bahrain, Kimi cost me a very good qualifying time as well as a little bit in the race as well. As you guys see there in the Max Verstappen's just dust getting kicked up from heading into the gravel trap. And yeah, I dive it up the inside of the Williams of Lando Norris. Through the corner, I give Lando a little bit of a pinch, not too rude. A very beautiful maneuver there from myself, as I am now right behind Kevin Magnussen and Sebastian Vettel. As Magnussen gets a little bit flustered by Vettel, I try move around the outside, that's off track. But Magnussen leaves me the space, and we're up another position. Guys, where are we actually? Because we have made up so many positions on this first lap, and we are now trying to chase after Sebastian Vettel in the Red Bull, the second quickest car on the grid, I might add, 3rd quickest, somewhere around there. Do you guys see, I once again went for the high downforce setup because with our car being now such a very good aero car, I knew I needed to pinch the amount of aero we have had on this car and use it to its max extent. Do you guys see that I easily defend from Kevin Magnussen, and that is also the last I saw of him. As I have a little bit of a moment there and get a track extension. You didn't see anything. Shh, you didn't see anything. But guys, now we jump back on, this is actually Romain Grosjean, the very beginning of the next lap. As we start lap 3, that is Romain Grosjean's race over, guys. He has had an engine blowout, and that is already half of the Haas cars out of the race. So it's for the Ferrari engine cars, Ferrari themselves and Haas. It's not been the best day so far. But as you guys see, heading on to the end of the next lap, DRS is open for Mr. Pierre Gasly as he's trying to get that Red Bull past the Haas of Carlos Sainz and up into the podium positions. Into the first quarter, it's Gasly around the outside, Sainz on the inside. Through the second quarter, they are still side by side. It's through the third quarter. Who's got the grip? Who's got the guts? Around the outside, and it's Pierre Gasly who gets that Red Bull ahead of Carlos Sainz. Now we jump back to Max Verstappen, to Lewis Hamilton and my teammate Devin Butler, guys, as they are fighting away for, I think this is P6 or P7, round about there. And these guys are fighting very hard. Heading into the first quarter, it's Hamilton on the outside, Butler on the inside. Will Hamilton do exactly what Gasly is doing to Sainz around the outside? Here goes Hamilton, and yes, it's a carbon copy with 2 different cars. And that, the Butler actually keeps his nose in there. Butler is not giving Hamilton an inch here. He is trying to tell Hamilton, no, you're not going to get it that easily, bud. They are still side by side, and it's now been 5 corners, heading in towards corners 6, 7, and 8. There we are through 6, into 7 and 8. It's a very, very fast chicane. Ooh, Hamilton gives Butler the squeeze to the inside of the second part of the chicane. Through the uphill right-hander, it is Hamilton now who slots in behind Butler, but he has got DRS as we go down this little back straight. Hamilton swerves to the outside, but there's nothing he can do at this stage. And as you guys see, with them battling hammer and tong, myself and Sebastian Vettel are very quickly catching up to the gearboxes of them. Now heading towards this next spot, they are still side by side, but finally Hamilton ducks out of it again. It seems that Butler is proving to be a very hard opponent to race against. Like I always say in the press conferences to Claire, if you go against Devin Butler, just drive faster than he does. Heading on to this home straight, guys, this is Sergio Perez trying to get his racing points into the lead ahead of his teammate Lucas Weber, but that will have to wait for another lap. As Carlos Sainz is trying to come back at Pierre Gasly, it's almost exactly the same thing they did the previous lap, just the cars are swapped on track. Now you guys can see around the outside goes Carlos Sainz, and he does to Gasly exactly what Gasly did to him, and even Bottas sticks his nose in there. The action has been jam-packed here in Spain so far. We're not even at lap 5. You guys see it through this next corner. Valtteri is on the outside. Gasly is on the inside. A very, very popular sight. Red Bull v Mercedes. Not that it's Gasly and Bottas that usually put up the fight. It's usually Mr. Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. But we'll take any Red Bull v Mercedes fight we can get at this stage of what the world's stage is in. But Valtteri actually gets his car ahead of Gasly. And now rewinding a little bit back, as you guys can see, Hamilton gets a beautiful run on the main straight. He is now trying to do to Butler what everybody has been doing thus far. It seems he's around the outer, but Butler still tries to keep the front wing of this McLaren there. And now Vettel is right behind him, as well as myself right behind Vettel. Heading towards the next spot, you guys can actually see this is now also Pierre Gasly trying to get back past Valtteri Bottas, and while they are fighting, Carlos Sainz in P3 is starting to scamper away, just like the two Racing Points, who are once again in a league of their own. Through this very, very flat-out right-hander, it is Gasly who gets his Red Bull back ahead of Valtteri Bottas. I'm used to Hamilton being the leading Mercedes. And guys, this is Carlos Sainz going for a move around the outside of Sergio Perez, who I can confirm has got some sort of mechanical issue and at this stage is very slow. So that is Carlos Sainz up into P2, Perez P4, Gasly P5, Valtteri Bottas P6, P7 is Lewis Hamilton, P8 Devin Butler, P9 it is Sebastian Vettel, and myself is in P10. So we are already fighting in the points. Going into the first quarter, it is Gasly trying to go around the outside of Sergio Perez, and he gets the move done as he is now into P3 and up into the podium positions. Just a little bit later on that lap, now we jump on board with Valtteri Bottas. That's not a place to really go for a move unless you are already side by side. Heading towards the next spot, guys. Heading into the very, very tight braking zone. Look at this, guys. 6 cars going 2 by 2 through the corner. Valtteri gets past Perez. My teammate tries to get back at Hamilton, and I make a move on Vettel. Beautiful little sequence of racing there from all 6 of us. Do you guys see I am now ahead of Vettel? I go a little bit wide. That right-hander seems to have my number this weekend. But luckily we can still defend from Vettel. Ooh, we pinch him a little bit onto the inside curve. He gets a little slap of oversteer. And now we are right behind Lewis Hamilton and my teammate Devin Butler. I'm sure Devin is like, where the hell did you come from? And in any case, guys, DRS is open. I've turned the car all the way up to max. It's overtaken Rich Mix on the car. It's a massive dive up the inside. I've missed the braking point completely. And Hamilton and Butler make severe contact. Luckily, no damage, but I have to give the position back to Butler. But thanks to Hamilton having a half spin there, I'm allowed to keep my car ahead of him. I had no track extension or corner cut warning. I took it very, very slow, as you guys are going to see on the replays now. But first, let's take a look at the POV of Lewis Hamilton as we watch the replay, guys. It's a very, very intense move heading into this next corner. Hamilton is flustered by me diving it up the inside, missing my braking point, and because of that, he just hits the brakes as hard as possible, locks up both front wheels, basically doubly collides with my teammate Devin Butler, hit him with his front wheels, and as the car started to come out on him, the rear hit Butler as well. So that's actually what saved Lewis from going into a full spin. As you guys see there, very, 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 very tender situation there, as Sebastian Vettel is actually very lucky not to have run into the back of us. And as you guys see there, I just keep my car ahead of Hamilton. I'm sure Hamilton is going to be shouting at the stewards, telling them I'm supposed to give him the position back. But guys, look, you guys are going to see the next replay is actually my POV, and like the live race POV. And I went so slow when I cut that corner because I knew if I went too fast, I would get a penalty. As you guys see, I just didn't realize how quick the corner was approaching. And I was a little quick. As you guys see, oh, I have a little oversteer there as I take the car over that very large sausage curb. And as you guys see, no warning at the top of our screen, no saying of return the position. So I just decided, what the hell, let's go with it. And as you guys see here now, we start lap 12, and finally Racing Point have fixed the problem that was within Sergio Perez's car. He goes to the outside, and he is now around the outside of Valtteri Bottas. It's an easy move, as I myself is also making a move on my teammate Devin Butler. around the outside to the inside for T2. It's the outside for T3. But they're still keeping the nose of the other McLaren in there. But that is us up into, what is that now? P987. That is us up into P7, guys, as we dive it now into the pit lane. And we are now coming, we are the first car to flinch and come into the pit lane. Guys, one thing that just sucks for me about F1 2019, if you fall out of qualifying in Q1, usually, you guys know in Q2, the tire you qualify on in Q2, you start the race on. So when you fall out in Q1, literally the game just decides everybody starts qualifying on the medium tire, no longer the soft. So the strategy of this race was boring. Everybody just went for the same strategy. Start on the mediums, go to the hards. Literally every single person, which kind of sucked. So there was no strategic plays in this race. The biggest strategic play is the one I just made. I'm going for one stupidly big undercut because this is 2 laps later that the rest of the grid are starting to dive it into the pit lane. Oh, there's a massive tank slapper for myself coming out of that very tight final chicane. Through the final corner, it's flat out overtake mode on the ERS. As we go down the pit road, and you guys can see the undercut has worked treat for us, and we are now up into P10. We have not caught Pierre Gasly. That was a little bit of a big thing to want to do. As you guys see, everybody's coming out of the pit lane, and Hamilton is now still the leading car. But we jump back, guys, to poor old Max Verstappen, who has been nursing this car around ever since his incident in the first corner. He did not come in earlier and go for a very aggressive strategy, but he is now going to finally make his pit stop, his immensely long pit stop, to change his front wing, go onto the hard tires and just push it to the end. But guys, it's almost a guaranteed last place for Max Verstappen. You guys can see he's so far behind that the race leader, Lucas Weber, is now coming into the pit lane to go onto his set of hard tires to run to the end of the Grand Prix. As you guys see there in the background, also Carlos Sainz is into the pit lane, as Weber's teammate Sergio Perez is staying out just one more lap to make it a little bit easier for his teammate. Guys, now Lucas Weber is out in front. Nobody's going to touch him unless his car develops some sort of problem just like his teammate. So hopefully the teammate curse will not concur there for Lucas Weber, because he is dominating the Spanish Grand Prix. He has been dominating since lap 1, and as soon as Perez's issue hit, it was more than just dominance. But you guys can see we jump back onto my POV. You guys can see it's P7, it's P6! P6! Oh yeah! Okay, so we are now in P6 of the GP behind Valtteri Bottas, and I can almost guarantee you guys that Bottas is going to start and fight with this man, Sergio Perez, as he is going 1 lap longer, and the undercut here at Spain is very strong because the tire wear here is absolutely horrendous. When your tire hits the cliff, it hits the cliff hard. So, this is now Sergio Perez coming into the pit lane, and we will see if the undercut has worked for Valtteri Bottas, or if this Racing Point car is just so fast that it can still eke out pace on a very worn set of medium tires. You guys can see this is Carlos Sainz. He gets firmly ahead of Sergio Perez, so Carlos is still within the podium positions. Here comes Bottas. There is Perez ahead of him. But now we'll see, can Valtteri actually latch onto the rear end of that Racing Point and actually give him a little bit of a run for his money for P4. But guys, let's run through the top 10. It is Lucas Weber leading this race in dominant fashion, like we've already established. It is Pierre Gasly in P2 for Red Bull, being chased down by Carlos Sainz, or trying to be chased down by the Spaniard, Mr. Carlos Sainz Jr., actually. In P4, it is Sergio Perez defending from Valtteri Bottas. In P5 for Mercedes. P6, it is myself for McLaren. P7, it is Sebastian Vettel trying to chase me down. P8, it is Devin Butler with Lando Norris in P9. And actually Mr. Lewis Hamilton in P10, struggling to make those hard tires work for him. But actually, Lewis has got front wing damage. Huh? Where did that concur? Okay, we clearly missed that, but also Lewis is now probably not going to get points, so it's not the end of the world. But in any case, guys, Lewis is not in the championship fights in any case. So, or is he? I actually can't remember. Huh? Oopsie! Guys, I had a little bit of a brain fart, but it's okay. So you guys see now Valtteri Bottas is sticking it to the fastest car on the grid, to the Racing Point, and he has gone around the outside of Sergio Perez as we head towards the end of the Grand Prix. Here you guys can see the next lap, Sergio says, "Have you forgotten that you are no longer the fastest car on the grid, Mercedes?" And he absolutely embarrasses the Mercedes in a straight line and flies past Bottas, and there is absolutely nothing that Bottas can do about it. Do you guys see it? This is now Sebastian Vettel coming up for a move on me. And guys, yes, you guys are going to see this. I made this way too easy because Bottas and Perez are fighting so hard and they were the cars ahead of us. I thought it was going to be a safer option to let Vettel pass me, who is in the faster car. If he can catch up to these two and he can make their lives even harder, I will be able to catch up. Because I was taking out about 2.5 to 3 tenths a lap on these guys, but it was not enough. I needed Vettel to get past me, put his foot to the floor and catch these guys. But the sad news is that he didn't. And I gave up a very glorious P6. But you live and you learn, you live and you learn. And as you guys see once again, Racing Point embarrassed Mercedes for the second time in this race. And guys, as we head to the end of the race, and Lucas Weber has lapped one of the Toro Rosso, so it's actually not Mr. Max Verstappen coming in last place. He will come in P18 due to one retirement in this Grand Prix in the form of Roman Grosjean with his engine blowout at the start. But guys, dominant, untouched, and on... the momentum is on his side. Lucas Weber rounds the final corner. My former Formula 2 teammate is going to win the Spanish Grand Prix. And he basically made the rest of us look like a bunch of Formula 2 drivers because he was in a league of his own. Pierre Gasly is going to round the final corner to take P2. And also with a solid P3, it will be Carlos Sainz for Haas. P4, it will be Sergio Perez for Racing Point. P5, Valtteri Bottas. P6, Vettel for Red Bull. And we are going to come across the line in still a beautifully driven P7. And we decide to celebrate a little too early and have a moment as we come across the line.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
That was brilliant stuff from Racing Point today. What a superb victory. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It's a good result for Lucas Weber, who extends his advantage at the top of the championship. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I have to give it to O'Connor. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through the field like that in Formula 1, so it was a great effort.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Racing Point continue to run away with it out in front. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improve their position in the championship. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula 1 action soon.
Exciting it was indeed. Guys, if just the tyre strategies were like they would be if we made it into Q2, but we are gonna get this car there eventually, and still, this was an absolutely epic Grand Prix if you ask me. I mean, action upon action upon action right throughout the Grand Prix, right throughout the video, and it was a good one. Wow, what a race, guys. We've got 2,205 resource points, which we are gonna spend very, very nicely. Oh, yes.
Excellent result today. Finishes like that will look good on your contract reviews. On to the next one.
We've got a lot of money. Yes, 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 yes. So guys, let's head directly towards the R&D and let's see what we can purchase. Guys, after Monaco, which is the next race, it is just engine strong tracks. So you guys know what we're doing. We're heading straight towards the powertrain and we are going to upgrade 2 major upgrades on this car, as you guys are going to see. But guys, before I run out of time, that has been this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for staying till the end. Guys, we are on an upwards trajectory towards the front of the grid. Watch this space. I hope you guys dropped a like down below on the video. It's only going to take you 2 seconds. If you haven't done it yet, please go down below, drop that like. It helps me out a heck of a lot. If you follow me on my social medias and you share the video, I will give you a shout out in a future video. Just make sure you tag me. And finally, guys, if you're new to Turbo Fox Races, please hit the subscribe down below. Don't forget to ding that bell to never miss a future episode or stream. And I'll see y'all when we head to Monaco. Cheers!